Hi, I'm Emma from Honeybuns Bakery and welcome to another one of our videos, our bake along videos. Thanks for joining me today, and we're going to do an adaptation of hedgerow flapjacks, which can be found in our first Honeybuns baking book. These are all sweet recipes. It's on page 110 for those of you who might already have a copy, and it's hedgerow flapjacks. The big amendment that I'm doing today is making it vegan. So as you probably know, everything we do in the bakery is gluten-free anyway, and I've adapted this one, which did have butter in the original, to be a vegan recipe also. It does contain nuts, but I do explain, or can explain in a sec, how you can make it nut-free as well if you want to. So it's a really easy recipe. It's a mixture of a biscuity base with a flapjack element to it as well, with the gluten-free oats. You've got a gorgeous fruity filling, which you can use frozen fruit or fresh, and then a crumble topping. It's ideal if you heat it up in the oven, serve it warm from the oven once you've baked it, or you can reheat it and serve it as a dessert pudding with a vegan ice cream or a vegan custard maybe. You could also drizzle some rosehip syrup over the top, and do check out our other blog, our written blog, for that recipe, which is really lovely. The reason that we're highlighting this recipe at the moment is because the hedgerows are full to bursting at the moment. So we've got plums, blackberries, we've got hazelnuts if you're lucky enough to find those, apples still on the trees and as windfalls. So there's lots of bounty to be used up. So we thought it was quite appropriate to do the recipe now. Having said all of that, I have used frozen berries today, and I'll explain how you can cheat as well if you haven't got the fruit available fresh to use. Okay, so we start off in a pan. We're going to melt 185 grams of fat. So that originally would have been butter, but today I'm using the pure, which is dairy-free, gluten-free, and it's certified by the Vegan Society as well. It's our go-to if we need to replace butter in a recipe. So put that in the pan along with 115 grams of sugar. You can use granulated white if that's what you've got, but I would recommend that you use something a little bit more flavoursome. So Demerara is great, that's what I've used today, or light muscovado. The reason being that you get a really lovely caramelisation in terms of like a caramel toffee flavour to the finished product, which is really lovely. And then add 125 grams of syrup. If you're not cooking, you could use maple syrup, which would be really lovely, though expensive, or golden syrup. Honey, do remember, if you're cooking for vegans and you're not a vegan yourself, then a lot of vegans, most now, would not use honey because of the bee element to it. So melt that in a pan. The secret would be 2 tips. Make sure that you melt it on a fairly gentle heat on the hob. You don't want it to bubble and get too hot, because you'll end up with a tougher mixture, which would result in quite a brittle flapjack if you allow it to boil. So don't do that, just melt it gently. And you also want to make sure that the sugar, and you can do this by kind of tapping on the bottom of the pan, you'll be able to feel any gritty bits of sugar that haven't dissolved. So you want to wait until those have dissolved, otherwise your flapjack will end up feeling and tasting a bit gritty in the mouth, which you don't want. Okay, so melt all of that. That'll take you a total of 5 or 6 minutes on the hob. You then want to measure out, and I've cheated here. I've already mixed my warm molten mixture with the ingredients that I'm going to read out now. So you'll add 225 grams of gluten-free oats. Take care that they are gluten-free. They look exactly the same as non-gluten-free oats, but if you're baking for a celiac, you do need to make sure it says gluten-free on the pack. 150 grams of ground nuts. To celebrate the hedgerows, I've kept with the autumn theme, and I've used ground hazelnuts here. Ground almonds would work really well, and ground peanuts would also work really well. If you want to avoid nuts, then you could sub in a flour. You could use Dove's gluten-free plain flour, or you could use our go-to replacement for flour, which is sorghum, which is S-O-R-G-H-U-M. You can get it in supermarkets now, and it's brilliant for these kind of recipes. Don't worry about remembering everything, because there will be a written blog to accompany the video. And then 200 grams of chopped nuts. I've used here chopped almonds to complement the ground hazelnuts. Again, if you want to avoid the nuts, then you can toast, that would be best, whole pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, and then roughly chop them, and you'll get a delicious, we're basically adding that for texture, so the seeds would work just as well. So what you do then is, working fairly quickly, you want to stir that warm molten mixture of your melted fat, your melted syrup, your melted sugar in with the ingredients that I've just listed there. With a wooden spoon is best, I find, until you've coated everything with that liquid, so you haven't got any dry bits left. Then you will have buttered or greased, if it's vegan, you will have greased your tin by brushing in some margarine around the inside and bottom of the tin. And then it's really easy. You basically scoop out from your pan into your tin the mixture. If it was a flapjack, you wouldn't have the additional ground nuts or flour in the mix, you would just have the oats traditionally. So by having that ground added ingredient, be it ground flour, ground seeds or ground nuts, it's halfway between a flapjack and a biscuit base. Really, really delicious. And squidge that out into your tin. You'll notice that I'm using a disposable foil one. That's because we use them in the bakery, so I take them and use them in the kitchen as well. For a similar sized traybake tin, head over to Hearts of Stir, that's H-A-R-T-S, I'll put it in the blog, of Stir, which is S-T-U-R, and you'll find them online. They're a family business 10 miles down the road from us in Sturminster Newton. They're lovely, they work really, really hard. They've got an amazing online offer of all things KitchenAlia, and we highly recommend them. They're fabulous, they're really friendly, and it would be supporting a local business. Okay, so that is ready for your fruit topping. So you then need either 350 grams of berries, which can be fresh, seasonal, so as we discussed, you can use blackberries, chopped destoned plums, chopped apple, etc. Or you can use frozen if you haven't got those. I did cheat and used frozen, and I had blueberries, so that's what we've done there. So that's 350 grams. You spread that over the base. If you prefer, you can use jam. Suggestions, the posh Sainsbury's Taste the Difference cherry is really nice. Some homemade raspberry, damson jam would work really, really well as well. Oh yeah, or plum, Victoria plum jam would be lovely. Spread that over. You'd need 200-250 grams for a generous layer of jam instead of the fruit. Put that in your oven, 180 degrees C, and that's going to be for 10 minutes. So it's just started to firm up. Don't worry if there's liquid coming out of your frozen berries, which is normal. I've got that there, the juice. It will just soak in and add flavour to your base. That's not a problem at all. Right, so that's easy. Then you come to your crumble ingredients, which are in the bowl. And I'll just read out the ingredients there, make sure I don't miss anything. So it's 100 grams of sugar. Again, I would use a brown one. Then 100 grams of your fat, so that would be your pure, again another 100 grams of that, 50 grams of the gluten-free oats, and 100 grams of either the ground nuts, and in here I've got ground almonds, or as I've said before, you can use either ground seeds if you prefer. Linwoods do a really good blend of seeds, or you can use a gluten-free flour, so a plain all-purpose flour from Dove's, or the sorghum. I'll make sure actually that I put in the blog a link to Linwoods, because they are fab and they do a range of omega-3 enhanced fortified seed blends. Our favourite is the pumpkin, the flax and the linseed. I think that's, no, sorry, I beg your pardon. The linseed, which is the same thing as flax, pumpkin and sunflower. Okay, now I've made a bit of a school person error here with my crumble, and I'll explain what it is. I thought it would happen. The ingredients, as I read out to you, call for cubed, diced, chilled butter, and I had this at room temperature, which was scoopable. So lesson there, and my crumble as a result is a little bit what's the word, non-crumbly. It's a little bit all in one big bowl of dough, which isn't a problem. It'll taste just as yummy, but you just have to break it up. If that does happen and your fat has been too soft, you'll end up with it kind of all sticking together in one ball of dough. You just have to break it up, that's all that means. And it doesn't matter, in fact I think it's rather lovely that you can see the fruit poking in from beneath. The actual crumble you'd be able to sprinkle over. It would be a drier consistency if you'd used a colder fat, that's all. So it's, yeah, it's cosmetic really. It'll taste just as yummy. That goes back into the oven for 15 minutes, 18 minutes tops. It will then go a gorgeous, gorgeous colour, golden colour. You can optionally sprinkle some additional, 5 minutes before the end of baking time, you can sprinkle some more brown sugar over the top, which would be really yummy. You can put some seeds in 5 minutes before the end of baking, which will toast up lovely. And you'll get the bubbling of the jam or the fruit, whichever you use, coming up as well. It'll be really, really tasty. Like I say, allow it to cool completely and you can cut that up as a flapjack or serve it warm as a dessert pudding. Allow it to cool completely. You can then pre-portion it. One idea would be, which I'm going to do for my boys this autumn, is to cut it up and then freeze it and have those as lunchbox portions. So yeah, it's a healthier alternative to shop bought. So you'll be getting an additive-free, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, yummy flapjack. I hope you like that. We are going to improve on the lighting for these videos. If you can't hear me, please do let us know, because I'm not mic'd up today, but I'm trying to speak quite loudly. If you like it, please do share it. We'd love to see your photos and comments. You can find these videos on Instagram, YouTube, Honeybuns Bakery, just search for Honeybuns Bakery. We really appreciate your support. If you want to buy the book, it's not obligatory, but we'd love it if you did. It's on www.honeybuns.co.uk. We've got tons of free recipes for you on our website. So thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.